Hi YouTube, and this is JTrain997, and I'm back this time with my review of the Marvel Universe Archangel. Now, this is a figure I really didn't have any intention of doing, but I've been getting a lot of requests to do more of the Marvel Universe line, and besides Juggernaut, I was getting a lot of requests to do this guy. So I went ahead and picked him up at my local comic shop. Of course, as you can see here in packaging, his only accessories are his base and his secret files. Although, to be fair, it looks like that wingspan is going to be very massive once it's unfolded. Of course, up here you have his picture, and down here the Hammer logo, and it says Fan Choice Winner. Of course, the Fan Choice runner-up was Luke Cage. And let's get this glare off the packaging really quick. And it says, his body and mind twisted by mutant super science, Warren Worthington became a henchman of the evil apocalypse. He soared aloft as a monster, obeying his master's every command. Worthington's mind was strong, however, and he broke free of the ancient mutants' brainwashing. Using his steel wings, enhanced strength, and damage resistance, he currently adventures with a mutant Black Ops team known as X-Force. Of course, down here you have a picture of Colossus, the AIM Soldier, and Havoc. And then a picture of Osborn. It says become an agent of Hammer at furyfiles.com. Gotta wonder when they're going to drop that Hammer logo. That whole deal is done in the Marvel Comics currently. Of course, that being said, I'm actually really excited to have this bad boy. Let's pull him out of the packaging. And here we have Archangel out of packaging, and his wingspan is definitely impressive. However, I was a little disappointed with how the wings connect. They're two separate pieces, and both one just peg into a hole in his back, as you can see here. I was really hoping these would be permanently attached. Maybe that was just me, but it leads to a lot of the time, sometimes the wings fall out, you know, sometimes they're really difficult to get in, putting one on knocks the other off, etc., etc. You know, overall, I was really just hoping they wouldn't leave them removable. Let's get this peg back in really quick. So, getting him attached to his base. As you can see, though, the wings do look nice. They can kind of close in around him. They can spread out like that. They do almost touch the ground with their wingspan, so that's interesting. Of course, the standard Marvel Universe base is Archangel at number 15. Actually, the wings can't help him stand without his base, although I much prefer him with them. So let's actually pull the wings off, since they're going to hinder a lot of Warren's articulation. And get a look at his overall articulation. His head's very stiff, goes left and right, up and down, ever so slightly. Of course, his arms go up to about here. Rotate, spin at the bicep, have a joint at the elbow, and turn at the wrist. Same for both arms, has some minor chest articulation. Legs go out, double joint at the knee, and have some minor ankle articulation. So overall, the figure itself isn't disappointing. Let's actually get his wings back on. We'll have a look at his detail. I gotta say, as a kid, I always I had a lot of memories of the old school X-Men line that came out with like a million figures, and I always really wanted an Archangel. So I never got around to picking him up. Well, I never got around to having my parents buy him for me as a kid. But this figure isn't terribly disappointing. He does have some minor flaws. I do think that some people would have wanted the wings removable, so I'm willing to chalk up my wings complaint to more of a personal gripe. But of course, get a look at his detail there. Not a bad face sculpt considering what Universe has put out in the past. If I've said Legends anywhere else in this review, I'm also sorry, I haven't realized. Of course, as you can see all down him. A very nice look to the figure overall. So, Marvel Universes are running you about $7 and change at most stores. The thing about Archangel is, I don't know why, but he is running you about $25, if not more, on eBay at the time I'm making this review. So, if you want this guy, you're going to have to pay a lot of money to get him. Now, that's not necessarily that bad. I mean, I've had my gripes with the Marvel Universe in the past. This figure is okay. I do not think he's worth $25. Wait until your local stores have them. And, you know, maybe your local comic shop might mark it up a bit more. That's where I got mine. I paid like $12 for him. Overall, he's a solid figure. His wingspan definitely adds a little something different that'll make your Marvel Universe collection stand out. With a figure so small, I wish they would have made an attempt at giving us some sort of flying base. I know I'm any brand of figures, I'm always on about giving us a flying base, but definitely seems like it would have worked here. But that being said, Archangel's a pretty solid figure. If you find him at your local stores, pick him up, but don't pay ridiculous online internet prices. So let's go into his secret files, that being said. And huzzah, I think that's the first time I've ever opened one of these things without the package ripping. Of course, you have a picture of Archangel right here. On the back it says, real name Warren Kenneth Worthington III. Codename Archangel, hair none, eyes yellow, height 6 foot, sex male, weight 150 pounds. Powers. After genetic alteration by Apocalypse, Archangel's wings became computed of razor-sharp organic steel-like material, allowing him to use them as slashing weapons, which can pierce steel. Archangel is a skilled combatant, especially in aerial hand-to-hand combat. So, onto his little read up here. It says, from Dr. W.V. Blitzschlag, I don't know, sent October 8th at 2:02 p.m. to Osborne. It says, subject energy form. Director Osborne, thank you for delivering the readings your team took during their time in San Francisco. I was sad to see none of the X-Men were captured, as having live mutants in my lab would be a great boon to the work I do for you. I may have discovered something useful, however, despite that unfortunate turn of events. The being Archangel emits an unknown form of energy which my instruments were able to detect. It is my belief that this energy ties the mutant to another creature known as Apocalypse. I have constructed a device to track and store this energy. If my device can be brought into contact with Archangel, it will siphon off the energy which we can then feed into another superhuman of our own choosing. Let me know if you will assign me a team for this project. Sincerely, Baron Dr. Werner von Blitzschlag. I don't know if I'm saying that name right. I never am. Blitzschlag. Sounds like a beer. Also, if I'm not mistaken, he should have a code in his packaging. Here it is. I've been told that this is working again now, that when you type this in, you get an extra little read-up about Archangel, or any character that you would get one of these codes with, which is everyone from this line. So, once again, overall, I think Archangel's an okay figure. I had some minor gripes with the wings, but seeing as this is the line's first attempt at giving somebody such a big wingspan, or wings at all, to my knowledge, I'm forgiving of it. So, yeah, pick him up once you find him in stores. Don't pay internet prices. And this is J-Train saying I'll see you soon, YouTube.